Live from the Icebox Studio in Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania, it's the Bill and Corey Show. I'm Bill.
And I'm not Corey. My name is Ron. I'm filling in today for Corey. We hope that he's back here next week. We want to thank you all for joining us, and thank you for submitting the questions. Bill, we have some really good questions this week.
Okay.
Got some questions on corrosive gases with the use of flow meters, some specific questions customer-based as well.
Okay.
Let's jump in the first one.
Okay.
Do you carry corrosive flow meters?
Yes, of course we do. We carry a line of corrosive meters. Our standard for lightly corrosive gases, you can stick with our stainless steel meters. This is an FM 1050, typically with a reference scale. This one is in Monel. And what's important when you size up a meter for corrosive gas service is not just the metal, because Monel is going to work with every corrosive gas. It's the seal material that's in here. Some of the standard seal materials would be Viton, and that'll work with many corrosive gases. Some gases it won't work. So you have to switch to a Buna or maybe an ethylene propylene. We also do Teflon, and there's other seal materials that we can offer with our flow meters. So if your gas is not compatible with some of our basic ones, then ask, and we'll identify a seal material for your corrosive gas service. So yeah, this is an FM 1050. We can also do FM 1000s, which are a shorter version, and they typically have direct read scales. That's it.
Thanks, Bill. Our next question is about getting parts for a regulator. I was wondering if it was possible to get a replacement knob and stem for the 4370 series diaphragm valve.
Okay. Now we sell the 4370 series diaphragm valves, loose parts, but you'll typically find them on the outlet of pressure regulators. This is a 3120A series dual stage brass regulator. So that, this is the diaphragm valve on the outlet. And people sometimes they bust a handle on it and they just need a new handle, or they might really bugger things up. And we'll have to replace the rest of it, the stem that goes with it. So there's different ways, of course, you can break things. You could have people drop things, get hit with something, just use abuse over the years. One thing that some people don't realize is when if the valve, this is closed, when you open it up, people will open it all the way till it stops. And then they'll go do something, and they'll come back and later and not realize that it's open, and they'll try to open it again, and then they'll turn it and they'll torque it a little bit more, and eventually it gets to the point where you can't, it's just stuck. And then what people might do is put a wrench on it, and then they'll bust the valve, and then bust the handle, and then they'll take the handle off, and they'll try to put vice grips on the stem, and they screw up the stem, and then they're really out of luck. So let me show you what we offer. If you bust up just the handle, we offer a little kit here that's got the handle label, very important, and a screw. So you can easily replace that. If you totally mess things up, we've got a kit that includes label, the handle, a screw, and also the valve stem. And it's got, I can't really see it in there, diaphragms, and then some lubricant that goes with it. And we do have instructions. You can find them in our online store for how to do it. And I'll show you a little bit about, happen to have a valve here laying around. Just kind of show you how easy it is to assemble. You take the screw out, pop the handle, then you'd use a wrench, but I loosened it. To pull out the stem. And then there's a stack of diaphragms in there that you'd have to replace too. So that all comes with the repair kit, and then you put it back together, and then your valve is fixed. Okay.
Thanks, Bill. Next question: is it possible to put a 3/8 inch male JIC outlet fitting on a 3120A regulator?
Yes, it is. I'll bring back our 3120A regulator. It's very popular for the show. This is a brass regulator. Most of the parts are nickel plated. And then some of the fittings, the outlet fitting on this one, it's a two-ferrule compression fitting, and it just comes in brass. So we can change the outlet fitting. Often people will order it ahead of time, and you would enter the order what we would call a dash S, which is it would be the part number with a dash S on the end, and that's for a modified regulator, and then you let us know what you wanted to modify of it. And then typically for dash S is someone will want a different kind of outlet fitting than the standard 1/4-inch compression fitting. So I'm going to, and we've got, in our online store, we've got a page that shows the different some outlet fittings that we have readily available. Now this is the 3/8-inch JIC fitting. So yes, we do have it. We do have it in stock. Okay. The JIC fitting is a 37-degree flare, and there's often flex hoses. They'll have a flare fitting on the end to install that. So yeah, we can install that. It's also sometimes we get people order. This is a Swagelok QC4 quick connect. So they'll have whatever their hoses are using. They'll have a quick connect stem, and then they can just plug it right in there. So we can also install that on the outlet. And then I like these fittings. These are our one-touch fittings, and they are a little brass fitting, and you can put plastic tubing in there, and so you just push the plastic tubing in, it's connected. If you want to disconnect the plastic tubing, you push in the ring and you pull the tubing out. Now we have to be careful on your outlet fittings. It's the pressure rating is important. These are only rated to, these push to connect fittings are only rated to 145 psi. So you can't use these on like a 250 psi delivery pressure regulator or higher. You can use it on the 125s or lower, but you can't use it on the higher pressure range. Now you also have to keep in, take into account if you're using plastic tubing, the pressure rating of the tubing. Some of the tubing might only be rated to 60 psi. Typically they're around 100 psi, and they might go up close to 200 psi. So you have to be careful about that on your end. And a lot of times the tubing is stamped with the pressure rating. So.
Excellent. I just have two follow-up questions there. So
okay.
What is the site to get all of these parts? And then the second part of that question is, will we do that for customers? Will we actually change this out for them?
Yes, if someone buys a regulator and they realize, hey, wait a minute, I don't want compression fitting, I want to have a JIC fitting or a push-to-connect fitting, they can go to our online store. You can look for the fitting page, and you can buy the fittings and install it yourself. So you can do that. Or if you want us to install it, you can send the regulator back on an RMA, return material authorization, and then we can install the fitting for you. And what's the nice thing about sending it back and us installing the fitting is we'll do a leak check again on it. So then you'll get a regulator that's fully leak checked.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill. Next question is very customer specific, so it's scenario based. I'm going to use two 12-cylinder packs to supply a MIG welding cell, 75% argon, 25% CO2. At some point in the future, the customer may want to expand to 4 12-cylinder packs. The same customer needs another manifold for two 12-cylinder, 90% argon, 10% CO2 for a robotic MIG welding cell. Which type of switchover is the best for these applications?
Okay, that's a good question. There's a lot in there. Hopefully everybody can digest that. We've got two of our main types of switchovers here. Ron's got the, oh, it's upside down there.
Oh, yeah, let's get the logo right. There we go.
Okay, so Ron's got our standard Switch Pro setup. And I've got our high flow version of it. And you can see this is a lot more metal here. And it's set up for 1/2 inch. And I'll give you a brief rundown of switchovers. And switchovers are used to provide a continuous flow of gas for your system. So what it has is typically you can have there's right side, left side. You have typically you can do a one cylinder, or you can attach manifolds to it. So when one side, it's all pressure based. So when the one side gets down to about 200 psi, then the other side will take over. So then you can have, then your process can have uninterrupted flow of gas, and then you just swap out the cylinders and you're on your way. Now, the one that Ron's holding up, our standard switchover, that's good up to 3 cubic feet a minute of nitrogen. And the high flow switchover is typically for flow range of 3 to 15 CFM. Now you might want to wonder, gee, why don't I just go with a high flow switchover over all the time, and it'll just handle whatever flow rate I need. Well, it's going to cost you more, one thing. And the other thing is that high flow switchovers are more prone to failure called regulator creep. And with creep, what happens is there'll be particles that get on the seat of the regulator, and then it won't close properly, and your cylinder gas will leak past the regulator and go downstream. So you could see almost full cylinder pressure downstream. And the creep is a slow rise. We have relief valves, interstage relief valves. Both of them have relief valves on there, and they're set to lift at 1.5 times the switchover pressure. So it's really kind of, if that goes off, that pretty much tells you have regulator creep. You need to replace it. Now the reason why the high flow switchover is more prone to regulator creep is that the regulator seat is larger, so there's more area for particles to land on and mess things up. And they also don't have inlet filters. The regular switchovers have inlet filters, so if there's little particles that get in, they get blocked and won't get on the seat. Or for this there's no filter because it's a high flow system. Yeah, so it's just more prone to creep.
Excellent.
So that's it. I think that's it.
Okay.
Well, that's all the questions we have for this week. So next week, tune in at 10 a.m. on Thursday for another episode of the Bill and Corey Show.
Thanks so much for joining us. Join us next week. Maybe we will have another outtake for you. And don't forget to set those VCRs to see us here next week. Thanks so much for joining us.